what areas should you be looking at? You should be looking at your cash flow, what's coming in versus what's going out, right? You should be looking at your debt. If you have debt, get out of debt. That's one of the things, I talk about Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and those groups. I got started with a group called Crown Financial Ministries, and we talk a lot about the debt snowball and how to apply that. I applied it to my own life. Get out of debt so you can put that money towards your growth, because at the end of the day, you're going to ultimately want to stop working, okay? Or you're physically going to have to, and you need money. And with medical advances and things like that, I mean, I just had last week, I had an emergency surgery. It was an appendectomy, right? Here I am today, like, man, no big deal. I'm a little sore, but that technology, we're going to live longer. And so the big fear is, okay, well, how do I make my money last? And if you're not planning for that, there's a question. How do I protect it? How do I plan? If you've got kids, I want to pass on that money. How do I get good growth? Why am I going up and then going down and then going up and going out? It doesn't have to be that way. And so that's really where that personalized plan really comes into effect. And now you have a clear roadmap. If you do A, B, and C, it's going to equal D.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing that, you and the Turning Point Group, we do is we also don't just look at the growth, but we look at the tax implications of things. And that's where, when you're not sitting with somebody that knows what they're doing, that's a professional that works in this, right? Like, you might be great at what you do in life and you should keep doing that, right? But let people that know what they're doing when it comes to those taxes too. It's not just about the growth. And that's something, until coming into contact with TPG, I didn't even know. I didn't even know I could control my taxes in retirement. I didn't even know what that meant. And so that's a big part of what we can do too.
It is, because so many people, my 401k, my 401k, my 401k, that's all pre-tax. Self-employed people, it's the same way. IRA. And, they'll hear from their CPAs and accountants. Again, no malicious intent, but it's just they're focusing on their little cubby hole, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, we need to save taxes on this year. Let's put more money in your IRA. Okay, and they're not incorrect. And even with a 401k, you will save taxes this year. Right. But let's look at the big picture, right? So flash forward 20 years from now. So say you're, 60 or you're 45, 47, or whatever, you retire 20 years from now. Ask yourself this question. You don't have to be a financial, guru or an economist or anything like that. Do you think tax rates in the United States will go up or go down between now and the next 20 years? Go up, probably, right? Again, I'm not a tax guru, wizard, or whatever. I don't have a crystal ball, but just based on what I'm seeing, 34, probably 35 trillion now in debt, going up, things like that. So let's see. I get to retirement. I'm not putting money in my 401k anymore, so I lose that deduction or my IRA. My kids are no longer at the house. Well, they may be living at the house with you, but you're not writing them off anymore. I'm also not doing any tithing or charity. Because now I want to donate my time to that cause because I really care about that cause, right? So you lose that deduction. And then lastly is your mortgage interest, right? I'm not going to be able to write that off because that's all front loaded when I first bought the house. And ideally, as you go into retirement, you want to be debt free, including your house, right? So now you have nothing to write off other than your standard deduction. Again, this is why the IRS, it spells theirs, because they can wait 40, 50 years for you to get done with your career. They're going to be there. Okay. So if you have a tax strategy where it's all, and I don't want to get on all taxes, but yesterday was tax day. But if you have a tax strategy like that, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm getting hit full hilt. Not to mention now your Social Security, up to 85% of that can be taxed as well. And that's added in last. Think of it like a graduated cylinder. So that's going to get taxed at the highest rate last. And it's like, okay. And, I've talked about this before too. The whole, you'll be in a lower tax bracket at retirement. 9 times out of 10, that is BS. Why? Are you going to take a tax cut or a pay cut in your retirement years when now you actually get to go travel and stuff like that? Probably not. Right. Not to mention you got inflation. So 5,000 today, in order to have the same buying power, if you've got 5,000 coming in 20 years from now with inflation, you're going to need at least 10. Yeah. Right. So you got to think about all this stuff. And that's why it's so important that you have that personalized financial plan. And then lastly, working with a professional, number one, they're going to educate you on, different strategies and things to think about. They're going to give you, look at it holistically. Hopefully, if you're only focused on growth with your person and all your money is just stick it in the mutual funds, you're working with the wrong company. But lastly, they're going to have access. A well-trained financial professional is going to have access and knowledge on a wide variety of different strategies and products for you in all those different areas. And that's some of the stuff I know personally. I had a financial advisor with a well-known company. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but it's one of those things that they focused on one area with me. I was, again, my late 20s, just starting my family. And I'm like, okay, that's what, you're the professional, never explained anything to me. And I'm just like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to trust you that it's all going to work. They're not even in the industry anymore. Right. And it's like, and they set me up with some basic stuff where they got a commission, right. And they got paid, but it was bad. I mean, I still have some of the products today, but it wasn't really a whole approach. It wasn't a whole plan. And they didn't expose me to everything that's out there and educate me and let me make those educated decisions. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of like going back to what I said before, I had the guy that wants to plug me into the one thing, or, I had my guy that was my PNC guy who's like, oh, we could also set you up with these things. Right. And so I've learned, especially like in what we do, is there are so many things out there, so many options as products, and so many different ways that those products can be used and leveraged for our benefit. And also there's people out there that don't know what they're doing. But one thing that I didn't realize, I guess, is, I think a lot of people that I talk to today just think, oh, I'm just going to open my Robinhood account or my this or that, or, what Vanguard, and just do it myself, read the books and do it myself. But I didn't realize until being in this industry how much the average person doesn't even have access to. Like, you can't even set up the type of accounts that we can have access to as licensed professionals. So, and yeah, just getting with, I think just reiterating what you said, that holistic approach and really looking at the full financial picture. If you don't have someone doing that with you, interview people, find someone else that will look at the whole picture from now till retirement years and educate you so that you have the mindset and the knowledge to be able to make good decisions with your money. Yeah. And that's what I've loved about. I mean, that's why I work with TPG, because that's the experience that I had.